5 tweets that prove Trump didn't take the outbreak seriously. As the U.S. takes more and more drastic steps to try and stop the spread of coronavirus, Donald Trump is taking pains to reiterate that he understands the gravity of the crisis. "I always treated the Chinese virus very seriously," he tweeted, "and have done a really good job from the start, including my very early decision to shut the borders from China against the wishes of almost all. Many lives were saved. The fake news new narrative is disgraceful and false." Yet just 9 days before that spiky missive, Mr. Trump took quite different tack. Since that tweet, the number of coronavirus cases in the U.S. has surged, and the Trump administration has announced austere new guidance to help Americans keep the virus at bay. Here are 5 samples of Mr. Trump's views on the crisis that show what a journey he's been on. Tweet 1. Mr. Trump has a habit of taking credit for supposedly healthy markets and doesn't always ground his claims in reality. This tweet came because the Dow Jones and S&P 500 saw their worst daily declines since 2018. Not a good day to invoke them as an indication the crisis was under control, as we now know it wasn't. Tweet 2. Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader in the Senate, is one of Mr. Trump's favorite antagonists and regularly finds himself the target of the president's ire. Here, Mr. Trump goes after him for requesting $8.5 billion in emergency funding to fight the outbreak. Tweet 3. Another tweet indicating skewed priorities, not only misspelling the name of the virus, but also focusing on perceived media bias rather than the outbreak itself. While this one does at least acknowledge some risk to the markets beyond Trump's control, the judgment doesn't in great shape. Turns out to have been disastrously wide of the mark. Tweet 4. Mr. Trump is extremely sensitive to any implication he may be even partly accountable for the severity of the crisis, and here he cites Fox News host Trish Regan defending him against CNN's supposed attempts to smear him. However, Ms. Regan's tirade accusing Democrats of engineering mass hysteria to encourage a market sell-off and trying to stage a second impeachment ended up backfiring, with her show moved from its primetime slot after a storm of complaints. Tweet 5. Again, Mr. Trump's umbrage at being blamed for the spread of the virus within the U.S.'s borders takes the reins. But again, he ignores the fact that at this point, there was no evidence the virus's spread was notably slower in the U.S. than elsewhere, while implicitly dismissing any criticisms of him as mere character assassination.